to the cloud once we are. Our meeting is now live on Facebook, and we'll be going live on the radio shortly. I'm start my shares.
I hope the construction people outside don't get too loud.
Well, that's part of the technology. We have to. This is the new normal, adjusting to noise and everything else that comes with it.
They've been working on the units in my neighborhood, like doing new siding and roofing and things, and it's been months, and it's like, okay.
All right, stand by, getting ready to officially get started on the radio in about 20 seconds.
Hmm.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. KLK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Tuesday. It's September 29th, 2020. This is Community Conversations. Care to Wonder is here with you, joined by Kabila Jones, host of Community Conversations. And we are live via Zoom with Judge Cindy Thayer. She is a circuit court judge for Craighead County, and she's got something exciting to bring to us. They're going to be talking about the amnesty program, and this is going to be for people who I believe have felony warrants. If you may remember, a couple years ago, there was the district court amnesty that was put on by Judge Bowling and Judge Fowler. So that was on the district court level, but this is on the circuit court level. So this is an abbreviated show. We're only going to be on for about 25 minutes, so we're not going to waste any time. So Judge Thayer, certainly we welcome you to the show, and we'll just let you go ahead and kick it off.
Well, thank you so much. It's a lot of fun to be with you this morning. This is my first time, and I appreciate the invitation to join you. I am very excited about the first Amnesty Day that we'll be having here in Craighead County. And as you did mention, we have heard, as you all have, the success of the district court amnesty program here in Jonesboro. Judges Fowler and Bowling have had an Amnesty Day in district court on several occasions, and I've heard of the wonderful success that has come about as a result of that. And we thought that that might be something that would be beneficial for Craighead County Circuit Court, or for felonies, as you pointed out. And I think everybody knows that most every portion and segment of our society has been affected by the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And we early on were affected because we're accustomed to having a lot of people come to court once a month for first appearances. And then also they come to court for their motions days on criminal cases. We've been affected by not being able to have a full range of jury trials, which we are actually opening up to have those again. But what has happened over that period of time is, despite our best efforts to try to advise people of when to come back to court at a different time than what their scheduling order said, I don't think that the word was really reaching everyone. And as a result of that, we've had quite a number of people who have missed court dates. And this has been going on since March. And so you can imagine that there are, I don't even know how to quantify how many people have missed their court dates, but I think we're talking about quite a large number. And as you probably are aware, pre-pandemic, when someone missed a court date and didn't come when they had an order that told them to appear, it was very regular practice for warrants to be issued for their arrest. And so we recognize that there probably have been some warrants issued throughout the pandemic. There are other cases where there have been people who have failed to appear that the warrants are being held, but whether they've been issued or whether they haven't been, we saw a real need to try to get those folks back in court without worrying that a warrant was going to be served upon them for their arrest. And that's what's happening in Jonesboro this coming Thursday. I know when I was approached about this idea by one of our deputy prosecuting attorneys, Corey Seats, we hadn't done it before. And so I appreciate Judge Fowler giving us some things to watch out for and some things he learned by doing it in district court. And so we're hoping that Thursday that we can really get the word out for people to come so that we can get people new scheduling orders and get them put back on the docket and them not have to worry about being arrested for missing a court date.
So if you're watching this on our Facebook Live, please share this video far and wide so that as many people as possible know about this program. And if you're listening on 102.5, call a friend and tell them to tune in and listen in so that they can get this information as well. We got a Facebook shout out to Scott Wilhite, who says, good morning. Well, good morning, Scott. Definitely appreciate you for having checking in on our live feed. So Judge Thayer, if you could just kind of explain a little bit more about what kind of felonies and felony warrants that will be able to be helped out during the process.
I'm really glad that you're saying the word felony, because I know when the word was first released about our Amnesty Day on Thursday, Judge Fowler told me that some folks were headed over to district court asking questions about that. And so I do want to make sure that it's very clear that what's happening on Thursday is not anything outstanding from a district court standpoint, but only from circuit court in Craighead County. And you asked which felonies, and the answer to that broadly is really any of them. So any Craighead County felony where someone has failed to appear, they can come on Thursday and we can assign them a new scheduling order and make sure that there's no warrant outstanding for their arrest. And so in Jonesboro, there are actually 2 separate dockets and 2 sets of prosecuting attorneys. There's a drug task force prosecuting attorney, or actually 2 of those, and then 3 deputy prosecuting attorneys that handle all the other felonies. And all of those prosecuting attorneys will be involved on Thursday and will be present here at the courthouse, ready to look up someone's information and make sure we get them all taken care of.
Will any of the newly elected prosecuting attorneys, I know they can't actually hear any cases, but will any of them be there maybe just to observe, just to kind of get an idea of the process so that when they do take office, if they want to do this, that they can be able to and know how to as well?
You know, the elected prosecuting attorney right now, Scott Ellington, you may be familiar with him. He actually becomes a circuit judge starting January 1. And we have 5 new circuit judges coming on board January 1. So I have not spoken directly with them to know whether they're coming, but certainly they are invited to come and participate on Thursday. We've had several people also from other counties in our district to ask about this particular day. And if it goes well on Thursday, this may be something that we can try in some of our other counties as well.
All right, Kabila, do you have a question? Oh, sorry.
Okay. We do have a comment from Facebook from Ms. Linda Frazier. And she says, hello and good morning, Kelly K. Welcoming my friend, Judge Cindy, super basketball mom. So good morning to you, Linda. But I want to ask about...
We're going to have to talk about that on a future show when we have a full hour.
Let's clarify that I'm not the one playing basketball. I'm observing basketball.
You know, we know what the process, when Judge Bowling and Fowler did their process, individuals had to sign up, and their cases were then looked into. So there may not have been a decision made on that day. So with this amnesty program, will you then look at it case by case as far as people come in, sign in, or let me back up. Walk us through the process of the day. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's a really good question. And good morning, Linda. She gets to do a lot of basketball watching with me. This process, what we have talked about doing, we did have a planning meeting with the deputy prosecuting attorneys and with the public defenders. And if anyone came and saw what happened on some earlier court appearances in the pandemic, what we're going to do on Thursday is actually have people spaced out outside. We will be there as early as 7:30 in the morning, because I've done this long enough to know that some people just like to be early. Mm-hmm. And if those folks want to come early, what will happen is we'll have a list on both of those dockets that I described to you of anyone that we're showing as someone who's failed to appear in the past for a court date. And so they'll have the case numbers available. And so when someone walks up, there will already be an order. And what will happen is every person who's been charged with a felony is assigned to one of 4 circuit judges, and that would be in the criminal division in Jonesboro. So their cases will be assigned to either me or to Judges Alexander, Phil Hours, or Honeycutt. And so when we look at that person's name and we're able to tell that they're on Judge Philhour's docket, for example, that person will be given a scheduling order with a new set of court dates to come back when Judge Philhours is presiding in court here in Jonesboro. The other thing that we really want to emphasize is a lot of these folks have lost contact with their public defenders, and that information will be made available to them, and those public defenders will be there Thursday morning. And so if contact information has been lost, we can reconnect them with those public defenders. And once they get that scheduling order, those folks will leave, and the prosecuting attorneys will simultaneously make contact with law enforcement. So if there is a warrant that is out there that has been issued and just hasn't been served, law enforcement will be receiving real-time information from our deputy prosecuting attorneys to set aside those warrants, so those folks are not worried about being served with those warrants.
Okay, so just to let people know that on that day, they won't get arrested. They're simply coming to get a new date on when to come back to court when their judge is presiding.
That's exactly right. And like I said, it will be outside. If you know where that, I call it the catwalk or the overwalk over Union Street, that will be that entrance where the portico is, where you typically see inmates brought. It'll be, I guess that would be the west side of the old courthouse. And so
basically on Union.
Yes, they can park south of the annex, which is where you go to have your property assessed or to pay your taxes. There's a larger parking lot there where they can park parallel on the street, and there will be people guiding them on where to go. And they'll need to be sure they also wear their masks, and we'll be observing social distancing, just like everyone now I think is accustomed to doing, but they'll be called up one at a time and given those orders, and then they'll be free to go after that.
I got a Facebook question. This comes from Vivian Taylor. Said, can someone dumb this down a little for me, please, so people can show up on a certain day to turn in but not get served? So maybe you could just kind of restate that, maybe kind of break it down just a little bit.
Sure. If someone has had a felony charge filed against that person, and that person has missed a court date in Jonesboro, so again, it would be Jonesboro, it would be a felony, then that person can come Thursday morning. Officially, our start time is at 9 o'clock, but we'll be there early. And if those people have missed a court date, they can come and receive a new court date and can have their warrant set aside if there has been one that's been issued.
Now, will there be?
And she said, just not to cut you off, she said, just to be clear, people can show up on a certain day to turn in but not get served.
Right, not be served with a warrant. That is correct.
All right. But we thank you for clarifying that. And then if you have a question for Judge Dyer, feel free to leave it on our Facebook Live. You can just go KLAK12.5 FM on Facebook and join in on the discussion. Again, share this video so that as many people as possible can know about this great program. If you're listening on the radio, call a friend and tell them to listen in to 102.5 FM. We definitely want to get the word out about this.
So because this it will be a long process, a long day, will there be seating available outside for those who just don't know? Or is it, as people come in, they come and check in with whoever has the list?
There may be some seating available. We're hoping that this is a pretty quick process and we can keep people moving pretty quickly. If we find that we're running out of room, then what we may do is ask folks to go sit in the vehicle and wait until we can call them to come back. And so that may be a process that's used. We really don't have a good sense of how many people to expect since we haven't done this yet in Jonesboro. So we're trying to be prepared. We do have 2 courtrooms available. We have an overflow courtroom and then the regular circuit courtroom if we need to utilize those as well. But we'll try to keep it moving so we don't have people standing for a long period of time.
Okay. Now on this day, sometimes people have to bring children due to either their school situation, daycare, whatever. Are people allowed to bring their children with them, if that's the case?
Now, in a traditional courtroom setting, sometimes because of simply the volume that we're dealing with and the noise levels, we try to discourage that. On Thursday, however, since we'll hopefully be doing a lot of this outside and hopefully moving things through quickly, then if they don't have any other childcare option, we would rather them come and bring a child than miss the opportunity to get this new scheduling order.
So we're speaking with Judge Cindy Dyer of the Craighead County Circuit Court, talking about the upcoming amnesty program. Let's go to the Facebook shout-outs. Okay, we don't have any new shout-outs or questions, but we definitely appreciate each and every person that has checked in.
All right, so I want to ask this question, from the social, well, I'm just going to ask it. So explain to people why a program like this is important. We understand that individuals need to pay their fines and serve time if that's what's, given to them. However, we do know that when people get caught up in this on a hamster wheel, it can be detrimental to society to some degree. So just give a brief rundown of why programs like this are important to help individuals in certain situations. I'm not trying to dismiss their crimes and their charges, but
Well, let me see if I can approach that in this way. First of all, if there wasn't an amnesty day and not an opportunity for people to come and get these new court dates, then what could potentially happen is that someone who has failed to appear could be arrested. And of course, then that implicates or involves the issue of having to come up with money to pay for a bond. It could also involve having to have money to pay for an attorney. And of course, there are public defenders that can be appointed to represent someone if they're not able to hire an attorney. But you can see how failing to appear could cost money in bond, money in an attorney, and also failing to appear by itself is another criminal charge potentially. So let me give you an example. Let's say someone has been charged with an offense of, let's say, theft of property involving $5,000, and that person misses a court date. Then they could have to come back to court and face an additional charge of failing to appear, which is a Class C felony. So you could be looking at up to 10 years in prison on the failure to appear. So if a person comes on Thursday, they will avoid the issuance of that arrest warrant. They can be given the new court date to appear, so they can hopefully not have to worry about paying those extra costs that are associated with the failure to appear. But also what will be happening on Thursday is that several attorneys with the public defender's office will be on site. So if that person who failed to appear has lost contact with their public defender, that's a great opportunity for them to exchange information so that after Thursday they can reconnect and be prepared for that next court date going forward. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. I have a degree in sociology, and I know people probably get tired of me saying that, but I have a love for learning how people work in other organizations, work in the community, and how some people just want a chance. Yes, some people commit crimes, and yes, they have to deal with the consequences of that. However, there are some people that get caught up and they get entangled in this, red tape of the justice system and don't know how to get out of it sometimes. And then again, like you said, simply missing a date can start them on a journey that they don't have to be on. I'll put it like that. If they could simply go to court, pay their fine, if they're assigned jail time or whatever the case, but not having this amnesty program again can set them further back than they probably would be, because now they're looking at a whole other set of charges and issues. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
and thank you all for putting this on.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to help spread the word. I think it's so important that people understand what's happening. I don't want them to be intimidated by the process. We're there to try to help everyone. I want to point out that you've got a chief deputy prosecuting attorney in Jonesboro. His name is Grant DePro. And then there's also Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Corey Seats. He's the Drug Task Force prosecuting attorney. But both of those gentlemen have approached the circuit judges going forward about having some sort of a diversion program for those individuals who haven't been charged with a felony before or haven't been convicted of a felony. So that program is also going to be something that we are trying to design and create going forward that will also hopefully help those individuals get back on track.
All right. I want to thank Ms. Vivian Taylor for keeping up with the conversation. Thank you. She says FTA being a felony is a terrible problem. So, yes, and as a person, I'm in my 40s now, but in my younger years,
You sure
I
about that?
had,
This one, you look like you're about 32 or something like that.
I had an FTA, and my issue was, a traffic ticket, and it escalated. For me, it escalated because I didn't have a lot of money, to take care of the initial issue. So I can't even imagine on the felony level what the fees and other consequences are. So I
And
really hope that people take advantage of this program.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Remember that the felony failure to appear only comes when there's been a felony court appearance that has been missed with the felony charge. But you're right. We like for people to come and us be able to work through the issues that are presented and get their case taken care of the best way as possible. We don't want people to fail to appear. Sometimes they've lost a scheduling order. I think a lot of people through the pandemic probably didn't know when to come back to court, and they were afraid then to come because they thought they might be arrested on a warrant. And so I think part of the problem that we've been seeing over the last several months is just the lack of information for the public. And so that's why, again, really appreciate you helping us spread the word about this on Thursday so that we can invite all those people who may have missed a court date so we can get them back on track.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes left, Judge. Any final comments or anything else that you want to reiterate or state to the listeners and the viewers?
I think that one thing that I've seen as a problem is individuals not staying in contact with their public defenders. And I actually have a phone number that I can tell you if those people don't have that handy. It is,
I'll post it in the comments.
It is 932.
Good morning.
226. And that is the Craighead County.
932, I'm sorry, 932.
6226.
And this is the number for
the Craighead County Public Defender's Office.
County Public Defender's Office. Got it.
A lot of people lose contact with their public defenders, and you can imagine that an attorney can't represent someone well if they're not staying in contact with their client and have the information that the attorney needs to be able to put forth a good representation. So if they've lost contact, they need to reach out and give their public defenders their information, whether that be an address or a phone number, and set up a time to meet with that public defender so that their case can be dealt with.
All right, well, Judge, we certainly thank you so much for joining us today. We've been speaking with Judge Cindy Thayer of the Craighead County Circuit Court about the amnesty program starting October 1st. So if you or someone that you know has a felony warrant, please get in on this. They want to help you. They want to try to give you a fresh start so that you can go about your lives, because I think at the end of the day, for the truly good people who have made a mistake, they want to give them every opportunity to remain productive citizens. Don't want the jails clogged up with good people when those spots really need to be for the more hardened criminals. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, starting this Thursday is our series of debates with the political candidates. So you got to stay tuned to KLEK, and you guys have a great and blessed day. This is KLEK 102.5 FM. All right, stop the live stream and the recording. Live stream is ended, and